Emma is the Community Engagement Officer at Springfield and is talking about the redevelopment of progress of the redevelopment on the site, as well as the hospital's new integrated programme for better quality mental health treatment. I know that Rose mentioned the Heritage Festival. We're very much, Springfield is very much a sort of heritage matter, as far as we're concerned, about the building and the environment and the open space and everything. And so everybody, I'm sure, will be very interested to hear about that side of things, as well as what affects us all, and which, you know, we've all been hearing a lot about mental problems and things over the last COVID months. So it'll be interesting to see what's happening on that front as well. Not just about COVID, but what's happening at Springfield for its main purpose, as it were. So, Emma, over to you.
So just to introduce myself, so I think Jenny's mentioned, so I'm Emma Hill, I'm the Community Engagement Officer for the Trust. I recently started, or just before Christmas, so a few months in now, but I'm going to put that caveat in. So some of the questions at the end, if I don't understand, obviously I will go away and find out and come back to you. But thanks very much for having me this evening. What I'm going to obviously go through is, as Jenny mentioned, obviously the integrated programme, which we call, which encompasses our estate modernisation programme, our kind of community and clinical transformation programme as well. So I'll talk a bit about what we're doing as part of the redevelopment. I've got a couple of videos to show, so fingers crossed the IT will work on those, which summarises just a bit better about what we're doing, timescales, and a bit better than what I can explain to you. And then I'll go on to talk about our community transformation programme, a bit about our community engagement work, and then a bit around just COVID, and obviously just as a mental health provider and as the NHS, how we've obviously dealt with the COVID over the last 18 months. And then obviously there's opportunity for any questions at the end. If there are, obviously, because I've only got one screen, if there are any questions in the meantime, obviously I can't see the chat function, or can't see if anyone does pop their hands up. So I'm not sure, if feel free just to shout out or stop, or if I'm not sure if Caroline, you're hosting, but just to check on that. I'm not ignoring you, I can't see the chat function, that's all. So to get started then, so Losa mentioned our integrated programme. So the Trust has developed a new integrated programme, which supports obviously our cultural, clinical and physical evolution over the coming years. So what we want, obviously we've got these brand new hospitals, obviously we're investing into our healthcare facilities, but we don't want them just to be obviously new buildings that we have in there and everything else stays the same. So we really want to, develop our whole ethos, our whole culture around making sure our patients get the best care as possible. So with that, we're obviously looking at making the community and inpatient services work together, and to look at obviously trying to get people to get the care as close to home as possible. As mentioned, we're investing in our healthcare facilities, obviously mainly at Springfield at the moment, but we are developing our other facilities as well. And then also developing our people and culture programme as well. So ensuring that, that the Trust is a great place to work. People want to come to work for us. They want to, volunteer with us, and that we're providing the best care for our patients through our staff. So what are we doing in regards to our services and our buildings? So we've obviously got the new, as I mentioned, the new up-to-date hospital buildings at Springfield. We've commenced looking to develop Tolworth in the near future. Also refurbishing some of our facilities in Richmond and Barnes as well. The development in obviously Springfield will include a 32-acre public park, and obviously a great outdoor space that we want really develop that village feel and that outdoor space, and really want a community, not just for the hospital, but there's obviously then the 100 of new homes being built, so there's also going to be on-site retail facilities, so really creating that Springfield village is what we're calling it, that real community. And there will also be part of a land for a new school at Springfield. So really get that's kind of, especially Springfield, it's like, that's a lot going on. What's going to happen? So why we're doing it? See, the building is over 150 years old. There's a previous asylum, so we want to provide the best care to our patients. So we want to have the most up-to-date facilities in order to do that. So here's just some snapshots. Like I said, the kind of befores as it was 150 years ago, the kind of in between. So obviously the construction work that's happening right now, and what it will look like hopefully by next year in 2022. But like I said, I've got this short clip, this video now, which really highlights, and apologies if any of you have seen it, if you come to any of our community meetings, but this video really demonstrates the exact plans of what we're doing at Springfield and the timelines of when things are going to be happening. So I'm going to play this now. Hopefully the sound works. Again, if you can't hear the sound, please, if someone can shout, that'd be great.
After many years of planning and consultation across our community, works are progressing at pace on the development of Springfield Village at Springfield University Hospital in Wandsworth. Springfield Village is a new mixed-use community combining healthcare and residential neighbourhoods in a parkland setting. As part of this, hundreds of new homes will be built over the coming years as our developer Barratt London starts construction on the plots shown in white. Future residential developments are planned for plots shown in red. The area in green indicates works that another of our partners, City and Country, will progress, including residential conversions of listed buildings. Following final sign-off from the government, main contractor Sir Robert McAlpine is continuing works on the development of 2 modern mental health facilities. These will sit at the heart of Springfield Village and will provide high-quality inpatient services designed to deliver modern mental health care, giving people the best chance to recover in the best environment and supporting our staff to deliver the outstanding care our service users deserve from us. The development will also deliver a new 32-acre park. This will provide a fantastic new outdoor space for our community, and earthworks are already underway to transform these areas. As we progress towards the end of 2021, works continue on the construction of new homes, the residential conversions, and on bringing the new park to life. This will be a space our whole community can take advantage of to support their health and well-being, and is one of the first to open in London since 2012. Works continue on the development of the first section of the new park into 2022. This will open in 3 stages between 2023 and 2025, following a setting-in period. In all, the programme has been informed by over 400 meetings, seminars and workshops with our service users and their carers, nurses, doctors and other clinical experts, as well as consultations with the local community. As we move towards the summer of 2022, final works take place to complete our new mental health facilities and our teams will prepare to move in. This will happen between July and October, and once these relocations have taken place, vacated areas of our estate will eventually give way to new residential areas. Works also progress on the transformation of the second area of the park, shown at the top left. Together with our construction partners, we are also launching a design competition with local schools for a new youth shelter that will be situated in this area of the park. The first part of the park at the bottom left will then open to the public in early 2023, as works also commence to transform the third area of the park, shown at the bottom right, including redevelopment of some parking areas at Springfield. This will be supported by the continued development of agile working practices across our workforce, as more of our teams take advantage of flexible working arrangements and fewer non-clinical staff are on site at any one time. Works on the residential development of our listed buildings continue through to the summer of 2023 as part of phases 3 and 4 of City and Country's work. And from this point, we see the final areas of the park completed and further house building into 2024 and 2025. As a trust, we aspire to be a centre of excellence for mental health care, a place where patients choose to be treated, where clinicians want to train and work, and where our community partners want to work with us. Springfield Village represents an exciting future for our staff, service users and wider community, and as an important anchor institution within South West London, the investment this programme brings will further enable the Trust and our partners to support our communities and local economy. We want to thank everyone who has helped us get this far, and we look forward to sharing in the benefits this development will bring to our communities for generations to come.
just going to stop sharing the screen. That's the end. So yeah, like I said, that video kind of summarizes a lot better than I can do in a presentation slide of talking you through each of kind of the timescales and the key milestones, I guess, of it. So I hope that's given you a better idea of exactly what we're transforming on the Springfield site and the timescales for that. I've also got another quick video, so I'm just going to share it of YouTube, just of what some of the hospitals will look like, so of what is happening in the construction at the moment. So these were taken last month. Share Sam, bear with me one moment. And it just gives you a flavour of, like I said, that's an animated video, but what is happening inside. Where's the... For some reason it's not showing as a top. Give me one moment.
Very much like a moving jigsaw puzzle, all that.
Yes. Oh, here we go. So one happens and the next thing can happen, and especially with the park development. So we're waiting on a few bits to be done before the next phase can do it, and some of the residential buildings as well. Obviously, some of the, especially the city and country, are obviously like current office spaces for trust staff. So we have to move that around. But like I said, there's a quick snapshot of some photos just so you can see what's happening. And again, it just brings it to life a little bit. So again, there's no sound on this one, so don't worry if you can't hear it. Well, there's just a bit of background music, but hopefully you'll... Okay, just brings it live a bit more.
What building are we looking at just now?
So these are the two new hospital buildings. That's obviously what it's going to look like. So again, it's just obviously just a snapshot of some of the photos that are happening. I think when you walk past site, sometimes it can look like just playing. So I'm just going to share my presentation. Yeah, it just gives you an idea of where we're at, and as you can see, it's really starting to take shape. Like I said, sometimes when you walk past the on site, like I said, it can look very construction site. You're looking behind hoardings, and it's nice to see what's going on. But like I said, the hospitals are really starting to take shape. The kind of outdoors been done. Now we're starting to do the fit inside. Is there any questions on that? Actually, before I share the presentation, is there any questions just on the bill before I go on to community?
Yes. Who would be eligible for buying or renting a home on the site?
So the Barrett and City and Country, so they're open to anyone. There is a portion of affordable housing that will be going as well, that has been mentioned. But yeah, in regards to the residential, they are open to anyone in the community to buy them. The sales, the Barrett sales office and the City and Country are now open. So if you are walking on site or walking nearby, they have now got their sales suites. The City and Country have got I said some apartments. I haven't quite been in them yet. They only opened a couple of weeks ago. But Barrett, yeah, so they're in country in the 1840s building. And they've got a nice lawn outside. And then Barrett sales offices are just as you come in the entrance off Glenberry Road. So when you come in there, you'll see the site office. And I can share the link again. Obviously, the website pages are up as well. So feel free to have a look. But yeah, they're available for anyone to buy.
How many houses or homes are there going to be altogether when it's finished?
There's around about, so there'll be around 850 to 900 new, the apartment blocks. Yeah, so there's quite between city and country and Barrett. And there's a mix of 1, 2, and 3 beds in that as well.
Thank you.
I'm just going to pop back onto the presentation. So like I said, that's the kind of one part of the estate modernisation on Springfield, of the actual buildings. So in regards to then, like I said, the community part of it and the community transformation, we've recently been successful in securing some funding for 2.8 million for year 1 of our community transformation programme. And like I said, we really want to base our care and get care close to home for people, not always bringing it, to the hospital site. So our transformation programme for community service will support us to prioritise the community-based care. We're also looking, obviously, the increased patient choice. And when I go into the COVID stuff, obviously COVID has kind of, I guess, exasperated some of our digital transformation work. A lot of stuff, like I said, I'm sure this meeting 2 years ago, we'd have been sat here and never thought this meeting would have been held on Zoom. You'd have all met and been having, your coffee and meeting. We've all really had to look at, transforming our services, but still providing the best care that we possibly can. So our community transformation will be looking at the kind of the lessons that we've learnt over the 18 months, what's worked well, what's not worked so well, what are we going to keep to move forward to the form part of that, our plans for this community transformation. And for some reason, here we go. So following that then, so obviously responding to COVID, which I know we're quite, so we've provided all our services throughout the second wave of lockdown. We've said we've had a blend of face-to-face, phone and virtual consultations. Obviously, where possible, we've done those, like I said, online and from that. But obviously, there have been instances, obviously, we are a hospital, there has to be some face-to-face support. So all of our staff have been regularly testing. We've had a great rate in regards to the staff being vaccinated. And obviously where we can, we have then put those onto phone and virtual consultations, but our services have all still continued throughout the whole 18 months or so. Like I said, we've invested in our digital platforms to be able to do that. So digital attend anywhere, so we can do those virtual assessment appointments. So obviously, like I said, we've invested in those means to be able to do those things. We've obviously, like I said, our appointments have continued face-to-face in COVID secure settings. We also launched our Orchid emergency service, which was a service for obviously patients for A&E. So if you were in a mental health crisis, rather than going to the hospital and for, into mainstream A&E, that there was an emergency service based at Springfield Hospital where people could go to in a mental health crisis. We obviously facilitated visitors, it was in a COVID secure way, and we extended our mental health support line and our advice line. So that was 24/7 as well. And you can see then what, in regards to our services continuing, our demand for services kind of back to pre-pandemic. We did have an increase in referrals throughout our urgent care and our CAM service, but they're kind of, I said, going back to kind of pre-pandemic levels at the moment. What we have seen is the referrals, obviously we saw the increase, but in regards to obviously people in crisis as well, obviously which did put some pressure on some of our services, and those kind of more high risk referrals coming in as well. So I've mentioned some of this stuff in regards to obviously we've continued our services, but we're really building on what we've learned. So I mentioned about the Orchid emergency service that was set up. We are now enhancing that. So it's now becoming our Coral Mental Health Crisis Hub. So if you see Coral, and you were familiar with Orchid before, is the same program that's now been transformed and enhanced, because we've seen the benefit of basically that service. So we've developed it into something that we're going to continue after COVID. So obviously, again, we're really trying to look at what's worked well and take the learnings of some of the good stuff that's come from everything from COVID. And obviously, like I said, our community services, we are aware of some, like I said, the impact of some of the waiting times. Like we said, some of the more high risk referrals have come in. So for those that are kind of, I guess, a slightly lower risk, are probably seeing a bit longer waiting times. So our community transformation program is really looking to address this, of where we can, get the care closer to home for people and less waiting times, of really trying to enhance that community provision.
Could you, sorry, on that last slide,
No, go on.
On the top right, CAMHS, could you
So that's our CAM service. That's our children and adolescent mental health service.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
No, it's all right. Sorry. No, feel free. If I have put acronyms in, I know at NHS, we love an acronym. So yeah, if there's anything that you're not sure of, please ask.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's obviously our children's services, and we know, and I'm sure you've seen it yourselves, if the children that, they're not being in school, they're not being with friends, everyone struggled, but obviously our children and young people have struggled and have been impacted on their well-being and their mental health during the time. So yeah, we have seen an increase for demand for our CAM service. So that's kind of around, like I said, our COVID, our continuity of services of what we do in our community transformation. But we've also got our community engagement, obviously, which is my role as well. So part of my roles is kind of split into regards to obviously coming in and presenting around, our services, our programs, our integrated program to community groups like yourselves, but also to engage with, like I said, our local schools around kind of awareness and prevention of what our services do, but also how can we use some of our specialist staff as well at the trust to go out in the community just around, this is who we are. Can we get some top tips, or can we give them advice? Can we run some workshops, or just some generic awareness around referring into our services and what we do. So some of our engagement activities. So we did run a competition to name our 2 new hospital buildings. So that went out to the community. So I hope you saw that and were able to submit some. So we're just going through the process of selecting those now in regards to panels and things. We've created an engagement offer for our local schools, and that's now expanded to further education colleges as well. So Mental Health Awareness Week, we launched for the schools in Wandsworth to design some artwork. So we used the theme of nature, which was what was used for Mental Health Awareness Week, and what the benefits of nature can have on our well-being. So we got some of the pupils to do some artwork around that. So we're going to put them on the green hoardings on site. So we're hoping as you come in off Burntwood Lane, there's going to be some nice brightly coloured nature drawings for you to see. There's a bit nicer than the green ones that we've got there at the moment. We've got a programme of work experience opportunities with our construction partners. So you said obviously our Master Developer STEP and Sir Robert McAlpine. So working with them for pupils in schools and FE colleges that are doing construction courses to come in and get some work experience with our construction partners, as well as the work experience that the trust offer as well. As the video mentioned, we've done our youth shelter competition. So again, that went out to our local schools in Wandsworth for pupils to design the youth shelter. So we've had a number of that closed a few weeks ago. And I will say, just having a look at some of the designs are a very high standard. I was very impressed with what the pupils designed. I know I'm not from a construction mindset, but I thought we'd have some drawings on, a piece of paper if this is what it could look like. But no, they proper did. Architectural plans, what materials, why they use those materials, why the design would fit into the park. So we really want, like I said, to create that community feel. We want to have some ownership of what we're doing as well. So the next stage of that then is everyone who designed a competition will be coming and doing a site visit when obviously COVID allows. And then the winning design we'll be working with the planners and the architects to bring that design to life. So they're not just designing it and we're going to go away and, they submit it and we're going to go away and design it, make it happen. They'll be working with us on that process as well to really see how something from a piece of paper that, can be brought to life. And then obviously, we'll do a bit of a ceremony when that opens. Looking 2023, 2024, because it's going to be in that top bit of the park, as I mentioned.
Can I just ask on the youth shelter, what's it actually going to be doing in it? Is it like a sort of...
So it's going to be called the Hangout. So it's a place for young people can just go and speak to their friends. So we get with the designs, we've looked at, making sure it's accessible, that people can go, they can just have a sit down, just have a think. Obviously, like I said, there's going to be retail facilities on site as well. They might just want to go and have a cup of coffee, have a chat with their friends. So it's just a safe place for people to go that they can feel relaxed and just chill out in. So obviously, as part of the park, we've got the cafe, we've got pavilions, we've got the share garden, we've got century gardens and things like that. But it's just a place that people might just want to go a bit further up the park, just to have a moment, away and just to sit down.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. And like we mentioned, obviously, like around the awareness stuff. So we held an Ask the Expert session. So again, it's our CAMS, which is our Children and Adult Mental Health Services. So we used one of our clinical psychologists to hold a session for parents just to come and ask some questions. So if the CAMS services have provided a load of videos on YouTube throughout COVID to support parents and teachers around obviously children's mental health and well-being. But sometimes we know the parents just want to ask some questions, or if they're struggling with a certain thing, with their child, whether it's, they're always on social media, they're always on their phones. And I've noticed, it's really affecting their mood. They're not sleeping well. Or I'm frightened, but, my child has been more anxious since things are starting to open back and they weren't sure about going back to school. All those kind of things. There's a chance for parents to come in and ask, obviously, the psychologist. So, which, this doesn't happen very often. So it was great to have that. So yeah, like I said, just a snapshot of some of the stuff that we're doing. We are doing a lot around awareness campaigns at the moment. So for example, like this week is Infant Mental Health Week. So the perinatal team have run a week-long worth of sessions for parents, professionals to come in and find out a bit more around certain topics. It's Carers Week, so again, we've had a session for that. So we're really looking to expand our awareness portfolio and putting on more sessions for the wider community, as well as, supporting our service users. One of the other big campaigns.
Can I ask, what's the significance of the man with a gun, the soldier with a helmet and a gun, that's on the Barrett sales place, and it's somewhere else as well? Is it a Barrett idea? It's a man standing, a soldier standing with his gun ready to shoot.
Where do you see that?
It's outside the Barrett sales place, but there is one somewhere else that I've seen.
On site. Sorry, I thought you were looking at a picture on my presentation. I was like, where have I got a man? I thought I put something else.
What?
No. Is it part of the 1840s?
Is it something to do with the name that they're going to have for their part of the site?
No, I think, if I can interrupt, I think it's Barrett's showing that they support the charities and whatnot to do with armed services.
Right.
And I think
I think it's
profiles of First World War one, I think.
Oh, yeah, well, I think it's rather unfortunate to have this scattered over a mental health site.
Well, it's a part of the Barrett's adverts, I think.
Yes, well, I understand that.
I see. Yeah, so but round by the show house, they've got the charities that they support as an organisation. Yeah, okay. Thanks, John. That was really useful. Yeah, so
thank you for that explanation.
That they support rather than, I was thinking then what we put somewhere that's that, but yeah, it was obviously the logo of that. One of the other big campaigns that we've been involved in, and I hope you've heard of it, is South London Listens. So as a partnership with NHS trusts across South London as part of the South London Mental Health Partnership. So we've gone out, so a summit was held last year before I was in post, and then we have spent 3 months going out and listening to people across South London. So that was done through listening exercises, or we had a survey. So we've listened to nearly like 6,000 people to get the views of how COVID has impacted their mental health and well-being. So we've been pulling those together. We've been looking at what obviously has come from those listening and survey exercises. They've gone into co-production workshops with various community partners to look at how we can develop those kind of issues into solutions. And there's a summit being held next Wednesday, June the 16th. I can send the information, or I can pop it in the chat when I finish sharing my screen if you would like to come along, where basically we will be identifying the key themes that we've come from it, and getting obviously the NHS and councillors to pledge how they're going to support South London Listens moving forward, and how we're going to turn this into an action plan to really make a difference and to prevent the kind of mental health crisis coming from COVID. So it's been a big piece of work, a very valuable campaign that we've been involved in. So like I said, hopefully you can come along next week to find out more about what's been happening. And I guess the last thing from me is just obviously how we're sharing what we're doing, and what we're doing, but also for you, an opportunity for you to find out more. So if it's the first time you're hearing about some of this stuff, apologies, but we have got feel free to follow us. We've got a social media challenge, we've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. On the Trust website, there is a monthly update page now that we're doing around estate modernisation. So if you want to keep up to date about what's progressing on site, have a look at that. We've got the stakeholder bulletin, which goes to a number of our partners and community groups, again about just a trust update. And we've also got the Springfield Messenger, which isn't quite on that, but the Springfield Messenger is specifically obviously on Springfield and the developments of what we're doing, whereas the stakeholder bulletin is a little bit wider across the trust. So we've got a number of platforms for you to keep updated. Obviously, I'm more than welcome as well to come out and talk to you and to attend meetings and to come in and present and to provide those updates. But just in the meantime, like I said, we've got those platforms which I can share with you, or feel free to, I'll pop my email address in the chat function. And yeah, please email me and I can add you to those distribution lists. And that's it from me. So are there any questions that you'd like to?
John Wilkes has asked a number of questions. So perhaps we could start with a question from John, please. John Wilkes.
Yeah, I apologise, I couldn't see the chat. So I'm just going to look.
John?
Hello, would you like me to ask them?
Yes, please.
Yeah, well, the first one was Emma, where the fantastic presentation and the videos, especially high quality, showing step by step everything that's going to happen. Where did the land for the 32-acre park come from? It looks like you're sort of reworking, demolished something there. What was there before?
It was the golf course.
Ah.
So if any golfers, please don't shoot me. We apologise, but yeah, it was obviously previously the golf course that we're turning into obviously a more community accessible park.
Who actually owns all that land? The whole site, the whole caboodle? So
it's trust land that obviously we've been selling to for the redevelopment to happen. So obviously, like I said, Barratt now owns part of it, City and Country owns their part of it. We've got Lawrence Baker that owns obviously with the care home. So yeah, obviously we're selling out parts of the land to accommodate obviously some of the redevelopment.
And my next question was how on earth did you manage to run such a big hospital? How are you continuing to do so with all this work going on around, also coupled with the obvious peak in demand for mental health services coming out of the pandemic, right in the middle of everything you're doing? What an amazing feat. How did you manage to do that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And in regards to the construction side, lucky enough, so I think they stopped work for about, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks with the first lockdown, obviously when everything completely got shut. So, and obviously that involved the construction industry as well. But obviously they've made up that time. So yeah, in regards to the builds, they've continued throughout COVID without, minimal impact. Obviously in regards to, we opened up the emergency service. So we was managing obviously the ambulances and stuff coming on site around the mental health. And we've just had to, we've all been unexpectedly caught, but you just kind of get on with it. Obviously, some of our appointments, we said we've kind of done the digital transformation and looked at how we can provide services in regards to online as well. So not encouraging everyone to come to site where they, if they don't have to, so we can provide that support virtually. yeah, we've got on with it, and you know, the staff have been amazing, and yeah. And obviously, like I said, with the construction work, there has been, and I'm sure if anyone's walked through the site in regards, you know, I'll be honest, some of it in regards, we do a piece of work and sometimes you've got to close certain paths and staff have to walk around to get to their ward, or there's been slight disruption in regards to some of the building works that's happened. But obviously, we've got a good relationship with the construction partners. So we give staff notice if there's going to be a noisy bit of work. We try and do that out of kind of peak hours, or we give them as much notice as possible that, you know, that we're closing this road, or there's going to be a slight diversion happening because, you know, we've got to change a pipe over or something like that. So we give staff as much notice as we can to try and minimise disruption on services.
So are you happy with me just keeping asking questions?
Yeah,
Yes, I haven't seen anybody else ask.
I don't want to hog the whole.
That's fine.
Keep going for the moment.
In the whole thing, and in particular, you know, ultimately, does all this redevelopment increase the amount of floor space that's available for all the mental health activities that are going on? Because it's a big hospital, isn't it? As a mental health one, it's amongst the biggest in the country, and you're providing all sorts of different services. I think I've gathered from this conversation that previously you didn't do the emergency part of it, but you now are. Is that right?
Yeah, so that was something that was set up as part of, obviously, with COVID. Previously, people, if you've got a mental health crisis, you would go to A&E in, obviously, you know, your acute hospital. Mm-hmm. So we're really obviously looking at that service of, if you're in a mental health crisis, sometimes being in an A&E department, a general A&E department might not be the best place, you know, for that person to get the right care. So we obviously we set that knowing that, you know, it's going to be a difficult time on people's mental health and well-being, and so we're going to continue that. And in regards to the space available, obviously we've got the two brand new hospitals with all the wards will meet all the kind of standard criteria in regards to ward numbers, and I think then it also looks at, again, is that whole wider piece of just not Springfield, looking at the community transformation of how we can provide services closer to people at home, so not everyone is coming to Springfield. So, you know, those services will improve and obviously allow us to see more people.
So that's where you were mentioning Richmond and Barnes. Those already exist though, don't they? Yeah,
they exist, but they have refurbishments as well. And obviously, the plan further down the line is for Tolworth as well. So we're not just looking at Springfield, we're looking at our facilities, etc. across the whole, but also, looking at our community provisions, obviously working with our IAP services as well. And in regards to the staff, obviously, one of the part of it is kind of, you know, that culture change and staff working, is looking at staff, you know, having more agile working as well. So obviously kind of not your nurses and frontline staff, but, you know, the more corporate staff of looking at the agile working. You know, I'm presenting to you today from my dining room table, the magic of, you know, home working. But so that'll be something as well that we'll be taking forward. And it was always the plan for, you know,
people listening probably don't know what our IAP services actually are, because I do, but this is the cognitive behavioural therapy process online, isn't it? Which is partly interactive with, it could be a psychologist or a trained professional at the other end, but actually a lot of it is to do with, it can be mechanised, can't it? Are you running the IAP services and staffing that essentially from Springfield, perhaps now with psychologists working from home?
Yeah, so our IAP services are continued running. Like I said, most of them have gone online. They're starting to now do some face-to-face. So yeah, obviously we've got, you know, Talk Wandsworth. So yeah, again, I said another acronym, so apologies. It's just comes up, but yeah, there are our clinical services for those with kind of low level depression and anxiety, to kind of have some, you know, cognitive behavioural therapy to manage that. So yeah, they continue. They also run a number of workshops as well, and we have our recovery college, which is based in Springfield. So for service users or for carers or parents of those with mental health illness, to access various courses. So feel free to if you can go either on the Trust site and there's a link to Recovery College, or they've got their own website. They've got a number of workshops to support parents, carers, or, you know, service users as well.
Which is advertised on the local radio stations, isn't it? Is that a sort of derived from Time to Talk or IESO, the main two providers of that nationally, or is it your own service then that you're So this is managing sort of online mental health, cognitive behavioural therapy programs that are accessible around the country. About a third of the UK actually has it prescribable within their CCG area. 2/3 of it doesn't yet because the funding hasn't been available. So it's a fantastic thing that in the Wandsworth area that's provided as a sort of first line level of support instead of turning up at A&D or going to your GP, because the GPs have been bearing a huge part of this brunt, haven't they, during the crisis. So I'm really interested in forgive me, but the Talk Wandsworth thing, what is that your own program that you've developed?
So we commission Talk Wandsworth to run those services for us. So yeah, so we've got so the three that we kind of commission out. Talk to Wandsworth, and then we've got Certain and Uplift as well. But yeah, they run those for us.
Cool.
But again, the information's on our.
Can I jump in? About the estate, really. Who's going to manage the park area, for instance, the youth shelter, who's going to manage then operate that, who's funding it, and also things like parking and infrastructure around the housing area, which last time we had a session on this, we got a very unsatisfactory answers.
Okay. Parking's everyone's favourite. So there will be residential parking. So the parking, if you come into the hospital, will not be obviously full of residents. There will be residential parking. In regards to the land or the park and who's going to own that, the council get first refusal on it. So the council get an opportunity to adopt the land, adopt the park. So that hasn't been confirmed or denied yet. So because obviously the first part of the park is not due to open until 2023. So yeah, the council will have first refusal. If not, then there's obviously other options that we need to look at to who is going to manage that, and that's being kind of worked through right now. And that will include, like I said, the youth shelter will form part of that park. And in regards to kind of the costing and the maintaining, obviously there will be service charges, but with most people who get the apartments, there will obviously be service charges to help maintain that if the council do not adopt it.
And regarding infrastructure, I mean, are there increasing bus provision and that side of it?
Yeah, so we're constantly in talks with TfL, obviously Transport for London. So probably, I'm sure you all know TfL, but I'm just trying not to speak in acronyms now. So we're obviously in constant talks with TfL. That there's obviously we've put some investment in to improve, kind of the infrastructure. Obviously, the bus routes are TfL's decision, but obviously we know they're fully aware of the redevelopment, the number of residential properties going in, and they do base on demand as well. So what I will say, if you come into the hospital, more people that use the bus and public transport, the more kind of justification we've got for increasing those bus routes as well. But yeah, we're in constant talks with TfL to improve that. But obviously they won't obviously do it until we've got more demand, and obviously the houses and stuff are already built and people are occupying those.
Right, thank you.
Is the site accessible at the moment to the general public? I mean, can you walk through it, and can you go to that little garden place and things like that?
Yeah, so the share garden's still open, and you can walk from Burntwood Lane to Glen Burnie. You do have to go round sometimes, as you can imagine. But yeah, it is still open, and obviously, we're putting in to make sure that it's still accessible for people and as safe as possible as in regards and clear in regards to if there is some diversions. But yes, Good. It is.
Okay. John, you've got a question, John Dawson.
Yes, it's. I don't want to make it sound a grouchy one, but with my own sort of architect consultant's hat on, there isn't any sign anywhere on the site which explains who has designed the phasing of the and the works to the refurbished buildings, nor who has designed the hospital. And who are the quantity surveyors, who are the architects, who are the planners, there's no explanation to the public that anybody else other than the contractor himself had any input at all. And I was wondering, I've been meaning to ask this for some time, is it not possible to have all the boards up outside on Burntwood Lane explaining who's doing what there?
Okay, I can definitely take that back. I'm just going to make a note of that one. I'm not sure if it is. Yeah, I'll have to check that one, John. That's a really good question and a good point. Yeah. I know I say this, I confirm. Obviously, we've got a Springfield Village specific website as well, split up. I have to double check if it's on that. I believe there is, obviously.
Yeah. But it's the public drive.
Yeah, but you see it's walking past, coming in of one of those hoardings.
I haven't got a clue who's putting all this together, but it's a massive development. It must be the biggest thing in Wandsworth, possibly outside Nine Elms. And you know, I think there's a lot of credit for a lot of people to be given.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that's a really good point, and I will. I'll take that back.
Yeah. Anyway, it's coming on very well. I walked past it the other day, and of course, it's all been spruced up at the front of the old buildings, which makes it look very glam.
In front of the City and Country bit with a new lawn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you just put up a fourth crane. You've taken one down, you put one up. Anyway, I'll let other people ask more questions.
Yeah. On the crane, no, but on the crane actually is a good point, which I didn't mention in my presentation. We've currently got a raffle out. So obviously we're trying to raise money a bit for our trust charity as well, which obviously supports some of our service users. So if anyone would like to donate a minimum donation of £2.50 to our trust charity, actually I'll try and get the link in the chat now. You can win a amazing prize of actually going up one of the cranes and getting a sky view of Springfield Village.
Oh yeah.
Especially if any of you live close by as well, you might have a chance to see your bird's eye view of your home. But yeah, a chance to go up the crane. There is if you do want to donate and you would like to nominate someone else, so you can do that if you've got their permission. But yeah. But if any
pictures of the site, or do we have to go to the website, the Springfield website, to see what's happening?
You can walk through the site and see it all.
Pardon?
You can walk through around the site, and not the building site, but around the whole development, and you can see everything.
Yeah, but without going there physically, can we have an idea of what it looks like and what the developments are?
Yeah, so
you don't have any with you now, do you? Or do, you know, because
yeah, so the second video that I showed with some of the photos of the construction a few weeks ago. Obviously at the moment
I missed all that. You know, I only joined you at 8 o'clock, so I didn't. Did you start at 8 o'clock tonight?
No, we started earlier. There seems to have been a mix-up about the time.
Oh, because I only. That's it. I only got from 8 o'clock onwards. Yeah, yes. Sorry.
No worries. What I can do is I can. Some of those videos are on YouTube. Do you all have access to the chat at the moment on Zoom? If I pop it in there.
Don't know what to do with it.
If I pop some in, not what I can do. John, I can always email them to you. I don't know if you'd send out emails and stuff. I can send you some of the links to circulate.
If you'd like to send it to me, would that be all right? Or John Crossland? Whose address have you got at the moment?
I think I've got John's. I think do
probably not.
Pop them in the chat in the meantime, if anyone can. Was there any other questions?
You might want to change the wording for the raffle for the crane experience on the Springfield Messenger. It says it's a chance to walk up the crane, which sounds a bit alarming. Actually, climbing up the crane sounds very alarming.
You do have to walk up it, though.
Yes. Well, I climb up. But a bit picky there.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think it was to. Yeah, no, I completely get your point, and thank you for that. I think
I wondered also whether you could sell tickets for it as well to raise some money, but not the raffle, just the ability to get up there. And you might find people would queue up to go up.
Yeah.
Oh, perhaps they need the crane.
Are there any other questions? Can you put your hand up and wave it about so I can see you? Philip, we haven't heard from you, and John, I'll come back to you again. John will. Philip, you've got to unmute yourself, please. John, Philip.
Thank you. Good evening. The original intention of the trust was to effectively manage the whole estate. Clearly, things have moved on since then. But realistically, I suspect the council will not wish to take over the management of the park. Is the trust making sufficient provision for a sinking fund to start with, and then subsequent maintenance? Because the management of that will inevitably be a continuing burden on everybody that lives there, but the service charges are realistically not likely to pay for realistic maintenance of that area. As I say, going back 10, 12 years now, the original intention was for the trust to maintain control of the whole of the estate, not just what they're principally going to be occupying. And the fragmentation that's now happened could well lead to a disincentive for the trust to maintain it as it should be. That's particularly the park.
Yeah, thanks, Philip. And yeah, like I said, at the moment, because of obviously the timescales on it, as I mentioned, the council do have obviously first opportunity in regards to managing that, and we haven't had confirmation or rejection of that at the moment. Obviously, we are in conversations with them, and there is I said kind of, I guess, plan B being worked up, because like I said, you know, we're all fully aware in regards to
they did do.
council's
I saw them
They
doing
can't
that,
Zoom it. I suppose they'll do, the next one will be Zoom. Will not be Zoom. I mean, sorry.
Sorry, I thought there was someone coming in with a question that might know a bit more than me. But yeah, but there are provisions being put in place to, if the council do not adopt it, then you know how that park is going to be maintained and how it is going to be managed. There is obviously various funds from kind of Section 106, like endowments and things like that as well. But yeah, those provisions are being looked at and worked through.
Thank you.
No worries.
John Wilkes, you had a question. You'll need to unmute yourself.
Thank you. It was the last one that I wrote down, which was to do with the, I'm not sure what it's called, the herb garden, but I believe it's just outside your offices in the old wing, if you turn right and to the right, where the patients can come in for therapy and help grow plants and things. And I wonder whether that's going to survive the redevelopment or perhaps move into the park opposite, or because it did seem to be a wonderful place. And indeed, I've been eating chives that I bought from the shop there in the herb garden.
Yeah, when you're walking past and they're trying to sell, yeah. Yeah, no, they will be staying. And also within the new park, we've got like a sensory garden. I said there's going to be a cafe and pavilion and stuff as well. And we're really keen on, I said, you know, depending on the council, and if not, that where the park is of really turning it into like a place of social value, so everything that will go in there will be of true community feel and will really benefit the community. So yeah, no, definitely we're really looking into, like I said, the shea garden will I'm not sure if it's staying there. I think it's going to be relocated, but yeah, no, all those types of provisions will definitely be, because like you said, they're so useful for, I don't know if you saw some of our so as part of mental health awareness, obviously with the theme is nature, we did a couple of interviews with some of our service users that volunteer at the Shea Garden. So they are on our YouTube channel. I'll just pop some in the chat if you'd like to see that. But just some of them talking about the benefits it brings them of just going in there and planting and working in the Shea Garden. It's really nice. So it's a nice feel good video to watch before bed. If you're scared of heights and you don't want to look at that crane photo and have a thought about going up a crane.
And is it still possible to be, is it called a friend of the hospital in order to promote what the hospital is doing and parity of esteem for mental health issues, which I think is the original point? There's a building, isn't there, towards the edge of the site, which has got labels. It all looks like it's closed up at the moment. Is that something that survived? Am I making any sense in terms of?
Oh, I'm not sure.
So there is was a club which is you can be a member of as a member of the public. You are associated with the hospital, and it's to do with promoting mental health and parity of esteem with other health services, and in the community to be proud to be associated with Springfield Hospital as a mental health place and as a service.
Okay, so is it part? So we've got our involvement team that do a lot of, like I said, peer support and various things. I don't know whether it's involved in that. Was it something different, like a mental health.
I'm only asking because I did walk through the site the other day and I saw that there was a building that looks disused at the moment, perhaps being relocated somewhere, and it had labels on it. I can't remember precisely what it said, but it was definitely to do with becoming, friends or Springfield.
Again, I'll take that one back.
Can I interrupt? You can be a member of the trust, and then you get regular newsletter and invitations to events telling you about their annual open day, for instance. Last year, or the year before, they had tours around the hospitals to see what the buildings were going to, where the buildings were going to go. So you can be a member of the trust under the NHS scheme. Foundation trusts have a membership, and the members actually vote for the governors. I don't think there's a Friends of Springfield Hospital now, but I may be wrong about that. There used to be, but I don't think there is now.
Yeah, and
perhaps that's something you could do, John.
I was going to say, there might be something coming up in the next couple of years, and if anyone would like to be involved, especially like I said, with the new park, and obviously we've kind of got a community forum and stuff at the moment that potentially, I think with this whole new village, which we're calling about, there's definitely an opportunity to have a friends of group there, yeah, for sure.
Okay, John Dawson, you've got your hand up. Can't hear you.
I can't hear.
I've forgotten. If I did, I've forgotten. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Are there any other questions?
Yes,
No?
I've thought of what I was going to ask, if I remembered, and that is, am I right in thinking that although Barrett's and other people have bought plots in order to build houses, I believe they're all under the main plan for the whole hospital grounds redevelopment, which is all under one planning, all under one planning approval, with loads of conditions. But my understanding was the land was all on long leasehold, so the hospital still has an overall control of the management of the land and all the various parts. Am I right or not?
You've got very technical for me now, John, so I will have to take that question back. I believe that you said the land is, in regards to, I said, with the leaseholds, and my impression that I said the land has been sold to Barrett and City & Country. Obviously, we've got Step has come in as our master developer that oversees the whole development. But in regards to the specifics around conditions and leaseholds, I thought that's out of my knowledge and my expertise, unfortunately.
The original basis on which the development was going to take place years ago was that if the hospital could have retain its ownership of the land, which was one of the bones of contention with the Treasury, that they could have a fee applied to all the land and as it's developed, and then that fee would help towards the cost of the maintenance of the new hospital, etc. Only I'm not talking about big sums of money, but enough to put a coat of paint on and keep the windows right and all the rest of it. The sort of features that on many public buildings get ignored these days. That was the original assumption of the whole redevelopment of the grounds, and the reason that the grounds haven't been sold off and parcelled, but have retained their integrity as a whole piece of ground. So, anyway, that's
okay. Well, I haven't seen any other questions come up, so speak now, or else. Oh, David, you've got one. David, you haven't unmuted yourself.
You can hear me now.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. What happened to the golfers? Did they go quietly? And what was the history of the early? Was there a fight over it being taken over by the NHS or what?
It was before my time. The golf course has been it started digging before I started, so I wasn't involved in any of that. my background is sport development, so coming from that field, I can imagine it probably were, you know, I'm not talking about it, there probably was, as I said, if there's any golfers, I do apologise, because I'm sure they would be, yeah, there's, you know, if people have been playing golf there for a while, then I'm sure they would have been, you know, a bit upset by it going. But obviously there are, you know, there are other local golf clubs, which I'm sure we would have worked with them to ensure they can still carry on playing golf. And obviously it's really looking at the benefits of the, you know, the park. Like I said, a 32-acre park going on that site. It's the largest that's been built, a new park that's been built in London since the Olympics. And what we know we're looking to do there is, you know, really of making sure it's accessible for all, and people really want to play, you know, a place to go there. There's going to be like a trim trail. Like I said, there's like amphitheatre in there. There's, you know, sensory garden.
An amphitheatre. Did you say an amphitheatre?
Yes, that makes it sound a bit more grand for events, but yeah, it's kind of like a seating area within the park, to a layered seating area where we can hold some, you know, small events.
Well, that's very interesting. Thank you.
For the people who missed it and everything, I will try and get the video links up on the website, but Caroline Pook, who is in charge of the website, is on hold at the moment, so that's why John Crossan's being the in charge tonight. So many thanks to him. And I'll ask Caroline if she could put those links up on the website when she's back, which will be about 10 days time, I think.
Jenny, I may be able to put them on the website.
Oh, might you?
Yeah.
If you can, that would be wonderful.
They're on the chat, but if you could email them, that would be helpful as well.
Okay. Who shall I email?
I'll contact you, Emma.
Okay, perfect.
And then I'll pass it on because I've got I know your email, so I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much for really wide-ranging and interesting talk about an area that some of us know very well and some possibly have never been to. It is a lovely site, and I'm glad that there's at least going to be 32 acres left of open space for us. So that's good news. And otherwise, I'll see everybody again in September.
Thank you.
Have a lovely summer.
Yes, I will. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.